we took a brief intermission. And so to kind of continue what we were talking about was what presents as behaviors and finding like it's the us everybody seeking ways to do it. My behavior tends to come out in that I yell. I didn't know it was a yellow until I became a parent. Not proud of it. I feel like you were about to say something.
Yeah, I was also going to bring up, I think one of the questions, which, what I was saying about disrupting, classrooms and things, I think one of the questions was about spinning at school. That is a behavior that we see. I mean, even crashing into the crash pad is something also I feel like kids just run or are clumsy and run into people and just are not aware of their bodies. For the spinning one, I think some recommendations would be like if they have a swing at school or a trampoline, we consider that they're seeking vestibular input, which is like what's in the inner ear. So they're seeking like movement within their inner ear.
Like what would make us dizzy and want to throw up? Like the Gravitron. I don't know if any of you've been there where it goes like this. Probably they would love it because they would, let me see if I get this right. They would be a low register because they need more input to feel grounded. Where somebody who gets motion sick might be a high register, like they have a very sensitive threshold. Did I get that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So I think those are some ideas. Depending on the school, I know all schools, districts are different, so the accommodations might be different or what they have at, at recess or something. But those are just, I think, some things that they should have at school or maybe some recommendations for that.
It is interesting. So I have an almost 4-year-old, those of you that have been around for a while now. So I can tell when he is, like, we all can tell as parents when our kid is tired, but, like, he will literally just start walking in circles around me. And I was like, oh, this is the tired pacing. But spinning isn't necessarily something he does all the time. Is it that he's trying to stay alert?
Yes.
Okay, so he's using the vestibular input as an alerting activity because he wants to crash.
Yeah, that's
so it'd be like when I'm driving and having trouble focusing, I'm like,
yes.
Okay, see, that makes sense because that's something I do when I'm like,
just wake
keep
up.
your eyes open.
Yeah, and especially if he's like trying to not take a nap or trying not to do something that,
Okay.
I would assume that would be.
So that makes sense. Okay.
And then I think the other question that we wanted to go over was the coping strategies for ages around 10 for like anxiety and stress. I've actually had a few kids recently that have come in with some anxiety or just, needs for mental health, because school is challenging and things are changing in the world. And so I just wanted to discuss some strategies out there for coping with stressful events and just life. Here I do a lot of journaling with kids. I come up with questions, self-reflection questions, some funny questions, either to discuss, draw, or write. So we do a lot of that here.
I want to jump in there really quick because, again, I share a lot of myself on here. I've been I talked about how I was on anxiety meds after having the baby, and I've had to adjust them. And so I've had to go down because of other side effects that I haven't liked. But one of the things I've really just started doing was morning pages, which is really just like free form journaling. You're supposed to do like 3 pages. I do like 1 to 2, but still, like, I have found that it makes a big difference. Like, just it's stream of consciousness for me. So I'm not even following a prompt. In fact, sometimes I'm like, I have no idea what to say next, or like, but just that journaling helps to like organize some of my thoughts and get things out. So it's not just living in my head, feeling like a big thing.
Yeah. And it's a way, some kids are a little more shy than others or are just not as open. And it's hard to kind of get in there and like really understand like what's going on. I think it's a great I guess an outlet to just write whatever you're feeling, and it's there, and then it goes, it goes away. You can throw it away. You can keep it. I just think writing it, seeing it is a really good like therapeutic way of just processing information. So Stacey said, I think it's beneficial. Listening to music, calming music, sometimes like meditation, like if you're into mindfulness and meditation, we do that here a lot too with kids, including yoga. Any movement activities are great.
And I discovered this. I have not used it enough because I always want to do it in the car, and they actually recommend not doing it while in the car. I think the artist is called Marconi. I found him on Spotify, and it's just this music that has been biologically shown to like lower blood pressure, decrease stress, and they say don't drive while listening to it because you're at risk of falling asleep. So I've actually shared that with a couple of friends who are pregnant and had high blood pressure, needed to lower it. So just something for you guys to check out.
Yeah, that's what I think you showed me that at one time. Yeah, it's a great one. Deep breathing. I know I have kids that say that deep breathing doesn't work. However, I do think it does help, especially if you give them a prompt of like what they're doing. So here I usually will say like, smell the roses, blow out the candles, do big deep belly breaths and like have them hold their tummy to really feel the air like coming in and out. Fidget toys are also great. Quiet corners depending on their age and their ability to calm themselves. But
going back to the deep breathing, because I'm always like, don't tell me to deep breathe, but it does work, and I found it works with my child too. So I've done the smell the roses, blow out the candle. That's from a book called Zara's Very Bad Day or Very Big Bad Day or something like that. But my friend was visiting and Jason's having a complete meltdown because he wanted me in the bedroom with him, but like that wasn't calming him, and I was like touched out. I needed space, and so she kind of took over because nothing I was doing was gonna calm him. And now I've been able to use this tactic again. Now the next day I did it with her child because the same thing, but she was like, okay, we're gonna take 10 deep breaths, and so they would do it and count, and if he started to be like, ah, they would start over again at 1. And so it was enough of like, he knew that it had to be 10, and every time he lost it, they started over, so it gave him like that time to do it. So just another little trick that can work when you have a child that's like, can't calm themselves.
Yeah, I think I have had a few kids that have come in. I think that's been like the only strategy that's been thrown to them. Yeah. So I think they get frustrated when you're telling them to take a deep breath. Yeah. It's like the worst thing when someone's telling you just take a deep breath or
calm down.
Yeah, just calm down.
That's not going to calm me down.
So I think those are all great. I mean, quiet corners or even just having a safe spot at home, where they can go and read or draw or color, music. I always say like just something that you find that they enjoy, that they can just go and kind of have a moment to themselves instead of doing like a timeout or something. I think that's a great resource.
I've done it when I used to do a camp. I would go and just like rearrange chairs one day. Like the chairs need to get set up, and it was like my like quiet time. I've also seen like depending on the age, like a precise thing. What's those? The fuse beads are like a really great, because like it's basically something what works is like something that takes me out of the thoughts in my mind, so that like I can kind of get a little bit grounded in my body. And like that's why yoga, when I do a more challenging one, works for me, because I like have to focus on what I'm doing. Anyway, so sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think just taking your mind off things, also recognizing feelings is a big thing for us. Kids, I feel like have these like big explosive tantrums because they feel like you're not understanding really what's going on. Like they feel like you're against them in a way. And so I think like recognizing their feelings, not like getting mad at them. Like if they're having a tantrum, take yourself out of it, because at the end of the day, they're not gonna, if you're trying to tell them, something they're doing wrong or something, and they're at that heightened state, they're not going to understand like what's going on. So it's just better to have that discussion after the fact.
I see that a lot on the gentle parenting stuff, where it's the tantrum is a result of something else. And it's a style of communication, and like trying to remember that so you can kind of get to the root of it. And they may not even know what is wrong, but they're seeking something.
Yeah.
So I actually do better with the tantrums. I have the hard time with the like, the whining and hanging on me when I'm like, I'm touched out, please, I need space. That is one of the challenges of working with kids and going home to a toddler also. But yeah, so just I try regularly to be like, this is just a communication tool on their part.
Right.
Like,
yeah, it's just their way of forming a communication. So I don't know.
Okay. I'm going to pause again real quick. And then she has one other thing on here that I've done, but we'll have more time to talk about it. See you soon.